Hello and welcome to a Homespun house. I'm really happy to be chatting with you guys again. It's been quite a while, I think around 3.5, 4 months, so I'm really happy to be able to make the time today to say hello and chat with you guys a bit. So thank you so much for sticking with me and coming and hanging out with me a little bit today. Because it's been so long, I feel like I can't really remember what I finished, if there were things that, I was really intensely working on. But I've definitely been making things in the last about 4 months and spending quite a bit of time knitting. So I'm going to show you guys some of the socks that I've recently finished. And the first pair of those is a pair of socks that I knit for my mom. So in October, my mom and dad came to visit. One evening, we all dyed yarn together. I took out 2 pots and they chose their colors. This is the color that my mom chose, this really beautiful silvery blue tweed. And I told each of them that I would knit them a pair of socks with the color that they dyed. And so the first pair of socks is finished. This is for my mom, and her birthday is in the beginning of February. So I've got to get these mailed off to her because I would like to have each pair of socks for each of my parents for their birthdays. So like I said, my mom's is in February and my dad's is in April. So I have a little bit of room for knitting his socks. And I love the way these turned out. I always knit my socks on a 2mm needle. I am so curious to see how they would knit up on a 1.5mm needle. The gauge is very fine. It looks beautiful, but I'm still curious to see an even more tight and condensed sock. So I knit these socks with a 60 stitch count. I have been previously using the 2mm needles with the 64 stitch count, but I've been finding that it is a little bit loose. So I did want to try the 60 stitch count, and I think it will be perfect. My mom has quite narrow feet, and I think she wears a size 9 or 9.5 shoe. Anyway, I know these will fit her. I've knit her socks before, so I hope that she really loves and enjoys those. I guess while I'm speaking about the yarn that my parents dyed, I will show you guys the yarn that my dad dyed. I have this colorway called Pumpkin Spice, and I had dyed a lot of it while my parents were visiting. And my dad kept looking at it and saying, that yarn is so beautiful. I really love the way that color looks. And so he really, I think, must have gotten it in his mind that he wanted to dye some sort of version of this yarn. So as I said, he also chose a tweed yarn, and he layered a lot of oranges and then some different shades of brown on top of his yarn. And so that's the way that his yarn looks. I think it turned out really nice. I am very curious to see the way that this yarn knits up. I'll probably cast these on at the end of February. Yeah, probably the end of February, so that I can get them shipped out mid-March or even April. His birthday is near the end of April, so that could definitely work. So yeah, that's the yarn that I will be casting on soon as a pair of birthday socks for my dad. The final 2 pair of socks that I have knit are, first of all, my Christmas socks that I was knitting on. I think I cast these on sometime in November, possibly. And I knit these out of Arnie and Carlos sock yarn. And I really enjoyed knitting these. Arnie and Carlos have a sock line through Vegia, which is a German brand that makes very woolly, sturdy. It's not merino yarn, it's just pure wool. I think it's I'm not even sure. It could be 85.15. I really wish I had a skein near me to have a look. But they just feel, they're kind of crispy feeling. Maybe to a person who really purely uses hand-dyed yarns, this might be a little bit strange. If you're used to merino, maybe if you use a BFL or a wool hand-dyed yarn. But these are quite crispy. I really love that. I have been, I feel like my Regia socks, my Zauberball socks, my Drops Farbe socks are very, very hard wearing and warm. The one thing about the Drops Farbe, though, that I will say is it's a very, very fine fingering weight yarn. So those aren't as warm as, say, my Regia socks or my Zauberball socks, but I love them. I feel like I kind of go in phases where I'm like, I don't want to knit with, those big brand yarn companies. I really just want to be knitting with hand-dyed yarn, and I mostly do, but I feel like for socks, it is just so... There's something I really, really, really love about knitting with Regia, Mexico Fortissimo, which I haven't spoken about. It just has this really nice, warm, crisp feeling. And it's making me very interested in dyeing on just a superwash wool merino, or not merino, I'm sorry, wool nylon blend for the shop, because they're my favorite socks. They're the socks that I grab for. They are, in my opinion, warmer than a merino blend of sock. So I spoke about this a little bit on my vlog yesterday, and I know that all of you don't watch the vlog, so I wanted to kind of bring that up again. For those of you who have been following me on my Vlogmas journey, thank you so much. It was so much fun to do. I did a series of vlogs for Christmas, and it's just something that I will continue to do, I believe, for as long as, I enjoy it, which I feel like will be a very long time. And so it's just something that's really, really fun to do, to share a little bit of my home life, my family life, my what I'm knitting on. That's really what the vlogs entail. So these are my Regia Arnie and Carlos Christmas socks. I finished them after New Year's, but that doesn't matter. I am actually thinking I'm going to gift these socks. There's somebody who, as I was knitting them, kept popping up in my head constantly, just because I felt like she would really love these socks. And as I was knitting them, I did knit them in her size. So I kind of feel like they're meant to be for her. So while these were cast on and intended to be my Christmas socks, I'm going to send these to her and have them be her year-long socks, because they're definitely, they look Christmassy, sure, but it's definitely a sock that you can wear all the time. And Arnie and Carlos have a new sock line, which I feel I haven't seen or heard anything about, but everywhere online they're completely sold out. It's very, very hard to find them, even here in Germany, where Regia is the distributor. Germany is the distributor of Regia. So I ended up finding somewhere in France to purchase their 2 skeins from their new line, and I'm really excited to share those with you guys next time, because they're a really neat concept. They look very, very different than these. It's Regia's Perfect line, so you get 2 exact socks. It shows you where to start for each sock, and I'm really looking forward to knitting those. I'm looking very much forward to to using Regia again because these socks flew and I enjoyed every stitch of them, honestly. The next pair of socks that I knit, I don't know why I just have one here, looks like the other one fell, is a pair of socks from Herbstblatt Regina. And this is her Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte colorway, which means Black Forest cherry cake. And this yarn. This yarn is very, 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 very soft. I feel like it has to be a merino. I don't believe I have the ball band anymore, but it's lovely. It's a fantastic yarn. I feel like it's a little bit plumper, although for 100 grams it had 400 yards or meters. It had 400 meters, so it just really plumps up, this yarn does. It's very, very round. The way Regina speckles her yarn is very beautiful. And I think it has to do with the base as well. I think the base takes speckle really amazingly. You can tell by looking at the strand of yarn that it just, the speckle just kind of sits on the yarn. It's not one that really, the yarn really soaks up, which is something that you really look for when purposefully speckling a yarn. So these ones knit up very quickly as well. I enjoy the density of these socks a lot. I would knit again, hands down, with another skein of Herbstblatt Regina. This was a very, very, very enjoyable, relaxing knit. I loved every stitch of these socks. So these ones are for me. I feel like I kind of have, a drawer of socks in my bedroom. I don't know how many pairs of hand knit socks I have in there. Maybe 12, I would guess, 12, 15. And I feel like while I have that much, it's a little bit difficult for me personally to put the new socks that I'm knitting into rotation, just because I feel like I should wear those socks while they are still good rather than get sick of them, kind of. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll wait to put in the newer socks that I've knit, because I definitely have a lot of socks from 2016 that I have not knit. I have a box of them just waiting to be worn or gifted. I also don't know how many socks I knit in 2016. Quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know when those will go into rotation. I wear my hand knit socks every single day. And I love them. I have hand knit socks on every day, and when I'm inside I have a pair of wool slippers. They're 100% wool. I love them more than anything. But I adore these. They're lovely. I am knitting some more socks. So for myself, in my amazing Maker's Haven bag, which I use all the time, she is making some beautiful Harry Potter patchwork style bags. They're amazing. They're Harry Potter inspired. It's not using Harry Potter fabric. The Harry Potter fabric is pretty neat. I really enjoy it. I've sewn and made and sold Harry Potter bags using the Harry Potter fabric line. But she's using inspired fabrics, and I personally love her take on the Harry Potter inspired fabric. Even more so than the actual Harry Potter fabric line. So, yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. I think she'll have them for sale, oh my goodness, I have no idea, at the end of this month, or it could even be sometime soon. So I am knitting a pair of socks for myself in Homespun House's new colorway that you guys haven't seen yet, but if you've watched the vlogs, you've definitely seen and heard me talk about it. in our Family Secrets colorway. So this is the way that it looks. I know I'm a little bit far away from the camera, so it's maybe difficult to see the way that this looks, but I'm knitting it on our gold stellina base, and I adore it. This is one of my most favorite yarns that I've ever knit with, colorway wise, and I really like it. I have my Sucre Sucre Miniatures Butterbeer charm here that Chelsea did, who is the owner and talent behind Sucre Sucre Miniatures, for one of our Harry Potter clubs. You guys, if you're in the January through March Harry Potter club, the charms that we have chosen for this round are fantastic. I feel like that always with Sucre Sucre Miniatures, but I'm very, very excited, and she's super stoked about this round. We will definitely be doing it again in April, May, June, but this round is very exciting. A Homespun House has not only been selling Sucre Sucre Miniatures through the Harry Potter clubs. In the last quarter of 2016, we were also selling Sucre Sucre charms in the shop, just by themselves on their own, because I know that a lot of people in Europe, it's really hard when you want to order something so special, handmade, from a wonderful maker like Chelsea, and you cannot buy it because of all of the Vatican fees, or Mehrwertsteuer, as Germans call it. And I thought it would be a really, really fun thing to do with Chelsea. I know that she really wanted to expand her business to Europeans, especially because most of her customers are American. And so it's been so much fun selling those in the shop and seeing them all and having them all here. And I can't wait to relist those again, because we currently don't have any in the shop right now. There might be one holiday themed one. I think that there might be one. But other than that, you guys have really loved them. So that's been extremely exciting, because I am excited about everything that Chelsea does, and happy to be able to share them with especially the people in Europe. So the socks that I'm knitting out of Family Secrets, I'm knitting on, again, 2mm needles. I'm using double points, zings, and really enjoying them. When I first cast this sock on, I really desperately wanted to try 9-inch circulars. I know that the girls from the Hey Sister podcast really, really enjoy them, and I really wanted to try them. Like, it seems like such a simple, easy, mindless thing, especially. I feel like that already about my double points and magic loop, just because I've been knitting socks for so long, and on double points especially. That's the way that I learned. That's my preferred method. I can really feel a bondness with my Grandma Sue when I knit on double points. Our hands move the same way, and I just kind of sense her when I knit socks on double points. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, I really wanted to try out the 9-inch circulars, so I purchased a pair of Haya Haya 9-inch circulars, and I knit the entire cuff on the 9-inch circulars, and then I knit a couple of rounds on stockinette stitch. I did not enjoy one stitch of those 9-inch circulars. A lot of people have told me that I should give it a try, keep working on it. But for me, my time is so limited that it's really, really hard for me to take my knitting time so slowly just to be able to use a kind of a new tool. And I wasn't enjoying it. I really, really wasn't enjoying it at all. And I do enjoy knitting on the double points, and I do enjoy knitting with magic loop. So I just thought, you know what? You can knit socks just fine on double points. They don't really irritate. The magic loop doesn't irritate. If you aren't having a nice time knitting on the 9-inch circulars, don't hurt yourself over it. Just stop. Stop, put them on your double points, and enjoy your knitting. Now, that's not to say that, you should always stop new techniques just because you aren't enjoying it or can't get the hang of it. But for me, when it came to a needle and not feeling comfortable using a needle, I just thought it wasn't worth it. I thought, this is not worth it at all. I love this yarn. Maybe if I were to use these needles for a couple more hours just knitting stockinette stitch, because a lot of people also said that they can't purl with them, it's not worth it. So I took my those needles out, put the zings in, which I really, really enjoy. I love the Knit Pro zings. They're just really light and everything slides on them really easily. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying these now. I had thought that I maybe would design something on this yarn, but after my little hiccup with the 9-inch circulars, it just didn't work. I had already knit too many rounds of stockinette stitch, and the idea that I had in mind, I would have needed to have started the pattern right away. So this is Family Secrets Simple Stockinette Sock, and I'll do a Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which I am kind of in love with at the moment. I definitely know that I go through my phases of heel flap or Fish Lips Kiss Heel, but I have just really been enjoying knitting the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. It's such a quick heel, and I don't need that gusset shaping. Like, I definitely don't need it at all, so that makes it really easy for doing the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. The next sock that I have been working on is a pair for Elodie. So I am housing these in my Mrs. Brown's bags, which Jody so generously gifted to me. I really love the inside of this. It's so fun how it says knit one, purl, resume, lots of different fun little words. And I'm knitting this on my Knit Pro Carbons. I really wish I had the foot finished by now, because I cast these on quite a while ago, and we have snow here in Berlin. We've had snow, I think, for the last 2 weeks, but the temperature has been rising. The snow melts or it rains, and the snow just hasn't really stayed. However, it's supposed to be below freezing now, I think, for a good while, so the snow should be staying, and that means that Elodie's feet have been very cold. She has been wearing a normal store-bought standard pair of socks along with some wool socks, and her feet have just been too cold. The wool socks as well that she has don't fit her exactly. They're a little bit loose, but I thought that she really needed a couple of pairs. And I wanted to jump on the chance to knit something for her, because Elodie isn't somebody who gladly asks for knitwear. I've mentioned before that she's very warm, and she doesn't normally need a lot of layers. So I know that I just said that her feet have been cold, or she has needed to dress warmer now that it's snowing and below zero. The socks that she has been wearing, I feel like aren't warm enough, and so now I'm wondering if there's even a point in knitting these socks. So this is some yarn that Elodie and I dyed together. It's on Homespun House's Gold Stellina base. I dyed the yarn. Elodie, I kind of showed it to her in between phases, and this is the colorway that we ended up with. She also has a pair of leg warmers in the same exact yarn. But I'm wondering if they still won't be warm enough if I need to use, as I mentioned, a sport weight or DK weight and wool. I would like to use wool and not a merino, or even possibly a BFL. And I would like it to be something thicker. So I'm wondering if I have this, I don't know if you can see here, but these are all of the yarns for my local yarn club, which I haven't mentioned yet on this podcast, but Homespun House now has a yarn club that features local yarn from a farm here in Germany, and it's a very, very small farm, so I feel extremely special that they are willing to share as much of their yarn as they are with me, because the amounts that I ordered from them, they really had to push, not in a negative way. They were very, very happy to have me want to purchase yarn from them. I think they were completely shocked and surprised and ecstatic, so ecstatic, because I told them that this would be something that I would be doing quarterly with them, and they're really, really excited about that possibility. So anyway, I have this yarn club that I'm doing with them featuring their wool, and it's a non-superwash yarn. They do a couple of different weights, and there's no nylon in the yarn, but I still think that it could be nice for her, just for wearing in her boots. And if the yarn felts a little bit, then it gets a little bit thicker, and they're a little bit warmer. However, now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm thinking that without nylon or silk, it might not felt, it might rip. So I need to have a second thought about that one. But anyway, I guess I'll probably knit on these, and they can be house socks. Elodie loves to slide around the house. We can see how warm they are. Maybe they are warmer than her current pair, because I will knit them at a denser gauge. As I mentioned, I'm using my Knit Pro Zings, and I'm using a 60 centimeter cord. I know that a lot of people like 80 to 100 centimeter cord, but I really like a very short cord. I don't know if you can see how short that is. For me, that's not fiddly at all. It makes the knitting very, very simple. And I have I wouldn't say extremely, I have quite small hands. So it's an easy thing for me to finagle with, if you will. I have been having a lot of fun knitting on my Ziri cardigan, or pullover rather, excuse me. So this is a knit that is very, very textured at the top. And I'm sorry, I want to mention the designer. Her name is Linnea Ullmann, and she has a lot of really beautiful designs. But this is a design that's very textured at the top of the pullover, and then it just goes into stockinette. So you definitely need a lot of brain space to knit on this, but it's so, so worth it. I'm knitting this out of a Homespun House Soft Sock DK in the Water Reservoir colorway. And I love the way that this is knitting up. I feel like this is a colorway that I can wear with so many different things. So the story behind the current state of this sweater, if you haven't watched my Vlogmas, I'm sorry for those of you who have, but if you haven't, I initially, of course, it's a top-down cardigan actually. I adjusted it to be a pullover. That's not in the instructions, but very, very easy to do. So it's top down, and you do the texture first. So I did this texture first, and after getting to the underarms, I thought that looks way too teeny. So I wear a size 34 European. I think that's a size 2 in American. And I just thought, look at my hand. As I mentioned, I have a small hand. This looks very small, and I was so close to ripping it out. I almost didn't even mention it on my Vlogmas, but I thought that I should. I was about to rip it out, and then I thought maybe I should say something. Maybe somebody has some sort of idea. So Somebody stated the most obvious idea of putting it around a string and trying it on. Which I thought there was no point in even doing that because it looked so teeny tiny to me. But, it really isn't. Especially if you look at this section right here, it doesn't look small at all. Like, had I gotten to the stockinette portion and just really seen how it blooms, I would have never thought it was too teeny. But anyway, I tried it on. I put it on a string, tried it on, and it fit just fine. It's not this loose, baggy, positive ease pullover, but it fits very comfortably. It's not something that I feel like I'm suffocating in. It fits really nicely, and I'm so thankful for that person who pushed me to do that, because all of that work would have been ripped out for nothing. It fits perfectly. It fits wonderfully. I just now need to, I think I'm going to, honestly, I was going to say I'm going to put it on a longer cable, but these are fixed, zing, fixed circulars, 4mm needle. And they're blue just like my yarn. And this knit has been making me so happy. I like to deck my knitting out in some fun stitch markers. Right here I have this porcelain snowman just to celebrate all of the snow that we've been having, and then I have this beautiful porcelain owl from Amber of Maker's Haven. Again, you'll hear her name mentioned quite a few times, I'm assuming, in this podcast, because I really enjoy her podcast, her yarn, everything she creates, and her personally. She's just a joy. So I'm really enjoying this. As I mentioned, haven't decided how long I want the body to be. I think that could be getting to a good length, and now start the ribbing. But I do think that I have to try it on just to be sure, because when you spend so much time knitting something, you're knitting a custom piece, and I really want it to fit as I want it to fit. So I don't want it to be too short. I definitely don't want it to be too long. I could live with it being a little bit more cropped, much more than I could live with it being too long. I don't enjoy a long shirt. I generally wear my t-shirts tucked in to my jeans, and if I'm wearing a pullover, I like it to go right above the hip, I guess, or right to the hip. No, above. I would say above the hip. So I'm kind of talking myself into the thought that this is enough and it's about time to start the ribbing. So this is on my third skein of yarn, of DK weight yarn. So I'm guessing that, and I have a lot, like I just started the third skein. So that's how much I have at the moment. And I'm loving it. It would be really fun if today I could finish the bottom and start the arms. Although once I start the arms, that means that I'm at that textured section again, and I really need that mind space to sit and think about it. In my Homespun House patchwork style bag, I have inside my Marley shawl. I'm not very far in it at all. This is a design by Andrea Mowry, and it is so simple, so easy. I love it. It's a super cushy knit, and it's beautiful. So I am using, I hope I have the band still, the Fawn and the Fox in her Grand Budapest colorway, and then I am using a Homespun House. This is our yak yarn in our oatmeal colorway. So I've sold the yak yarn quite sparingly in the shop, but it is fantastic, as is Lara from the Fawn and the Fox, her fawn base. So that's an 80-10-10 standard skein of cashmere. It's beautiful. It's really, really really stunning. I quite adore this colorway. Couldn't be kind of more perfect for me. So this is just one that I pick up quite sparingly. You can see that. I think I've had it on the needles for 2.5 months. It could even be longer. I have no idea when I cast it on. I suppose I could look on Instagram and see when I cast that on, but it's not that important. I would love this to be one that I would wear. It's so pretty. This is a triangular shape, the Marley shawl, and I go back and forth from liking crescent shapes and triangular shapes. And right now, I definitely, my Party on My Needles shawl, designed by Joji Locatelli, I love that shape. That is my favorite shawl. I wear it basically every single time I go outside. I love how long it is, how much you can wrap it around. It's very, very warm. That was such a fun knit that I am extremely tempted to cast another one on. But then my mind always tells me, Molly, there are so many shawls out there. Cast on something new. But I love that shawl so much. I knit it out of a Homespun House yarns in a yarn club colorway that can't be reproduced. I think it was called Let Them Eat Cake, and then our ash colorway. But anyway, so this is a fun, really squishy knit. I am knitting it on 3.5 millimeter needles. I definitely think I could have used a 3 millimeter needle because brioche really, I don't know, it just really makes your knitting extremely plump and airy. And I like airy knitting, but I'm definitely in a dense knitting phase where I like pieces that are, especially for a shawl, a little bit more heavy, or even socks. I really, really love those dense, warm socks. Probably just because I'm in cozy mode, trying to stay warm. We've been having our fireplace on every single day. It's been amazing to have a fireplace to be able to use. We didn't have that in our old flat, so I really, really love it. The next shawl that I've been working on is my alpine shawl, a design, who knows when it will get out into the knitting world, designed by me. And this is out of our Dale base, which we now have so much Dale in the shop. I'm so happy to be able to get it back, to be dyeing on it again. It is just an amazing feeling yarn. It's a 100% non-superwash merino. We carry it on fingering DK and Aran weight, and I just love it. So this is a knit that I pick up as well, very sparingly. However, I have done quite a bit of progress since we last spoke. This is a fun one. I am still toying with changing the lace pattern that I have in here. I do have some pine trees, but I don't know if I really like the way that they look. So we'll see. I'm almost to the point where I need to do that and experiment a little bit more with exactly how I want it to look. I do already have this shawl completed and knit in some wool yarn, which was, oh my goodness, such a pleasure to work with. I know that the Christmas season has already come and gone, but I'm still really in making mood and wanting to create special things for my children especially. And I would love to have just a fun box of ornaments for them to have and for them to take with them to their future homes and share with their families if they choose to have a family when they're older. In December, I participated in the Legacy Knits Advent Calendar, which was so lovely and fantastic. I ended up getting my calendar a little bit later, which was totally fine. Things happen with the post. It was definitely a problem of the post. Chelsea and Sue are so amazing. So what ended up happening is the post kind of never delivered my package. They ended up sending it back to Sue and Chelsea. and it was never delivered, it never arrived, and I went to go pick it up where I was supposed to pick it up, and they didn't have it. They had no idea where it was. They said it must have been sent back. And I told Sue this, and she was devastated. I was devastated. And Sue had one advent calendar left, which was hers. And she so graciously sent me that calendar. I felt really, really special and terrible at the same time that she was willing to do that. But the advent calendar should be back to her anytime. I know that often when something is purchased overseas and then end up sent back to the business owner, that sometimes that can take quite a while. So I just want to say that the women behind Legacy Fiber Arts are fantastic. Their customer service skills are really, really wonderful, and I would definitely be doing business with them again. They're really great. So anyway, I purchased their advent calendar, and I opened up all of the beautiful 20-gram skeins, and I have them inside of this box. So half of those skeins are gold stellina, which, oh my goodness, makes my knitting heart so happy. So I am keeping them in here. Amber from Maker's Haven and I are hosting a Year of Ornaments craft along or make along, whatever you want to call it, with hashtag A Year of Ornaments on Instagram or whichever social medias you guys use. And it's just a year where we go throughout the year creating and making ornaments for ourselves, for our friends, for family members, strangers even. How fun would that be? And making ornaments. So anyway, it's a really, really fun thing that we're doing, and I'm really excited about it. So I have this little box that says "Enjoy the Little Things" on it, and it's really sweet. I have already knit quite a few ornaments. I am knitting the majority of these ornaments with my Legacy Fiber Arts mini skeins, just because it seems like the perfect idea, and they're really special as well. So in my box, I have 2 mini skeins that I already have wound into cakes, and then I have these 4 mini skeins that I'm quite sure I'll be using for next projects. I have this piece of fresh wool roving from some local sheep here. I have a massive, massive bag of this, but I feel like it's really special to fill these little ornaments with this extremely lanolin filled roving. I love it. It smells like old in the best way ever. And then I have my 60-inch 2mm zings fixed. I have this sweet little hanger for when I make some sort of knitted sweater. And then I have some of the ornaments that I've already made. So I have made a couple bunny nuggets. This is out of Legacy Fiber Arts yarn on their silver stellina, which I really love. I'm quite sure it's silver. Yeah. And I've just done oh goodness, I can't think of what it's called right now. The little knots for the eyes. It's not the standard knot, it's a double one, so it's quite larger. I wish I could think of what it is. And then I just embroidered the little nose on there. Then I did a little kitty cat. I should have made the ears a little bit smaller, but I think that makes her really cute. This is out of a Homespun house yarn, this second kitty cat and bunny. This is out of our last installment of the Tim Burton Sock Club, which was called Frog's Breath from A Nightmare Before Christmas, and came with a really neat bowl of soup that Sally tried to poison her maker with. And he smelled the frog's breath and he was like, "How mysterious." um, there's definitely something in here, you know. Nobody uses frog's breath and isn't trying to hide something. So then I made the tiny window cat. I made this smaller than the one in the photo, I believe. But I definitely would not want it any larger. And I feel like the ears as well on this one, the pattern could have used one less increase. I feel like they're quite long. But I just make the end extra long when I'm trimming it after I cast off or, you know, pull stitches together, and then I use that end to hang the ornament. And I think it works perfectly, really, really nicely. So the kitten was really easy. It was all knit in one piece. The ears were a bit fiddly, and then the tail was added at the end. So the next thing that I'm going to knit, I don't know if you noticed, but I always print my patterns as books. I never print them as a full page. For me, it just works really nicely that way, is the seahorse. So I would like to knit this at a very, very fine gauge. I don't want it to be too large. I am a little bit nervous about it being too large, but I'm guessing it should be all right. This pattern looks quite extensive. I'm definitely, it has 72 rows, so I can see this being huge. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous now. I haven't really looked through the pattern, but anyway, I'm going to have a look through that. If it seems like it's way too big, I don't think I'll knit it. I guess I have to go back and look at Kristen's episodes and see how large hers turned out, because I can't remember. But anyway, that's my special little box that I'm keeping my ornaments in, and all of my little tools for making my ornaments and yarns, and these two boxes make me very, very happy. The final thing that I have been spending a lot of time on and off, again I have my phases of working on, is my granny stripe crochet blanket. The last time that I showed this to you in my podcast, let's see if I still have my marker there. I believe this is where I last was, right where I have my sweet little porcelain teacup, which we sell in a homespun house. This is how much I've done. So from here on up, and I love it. I do know that this stripe here is quite abrupt. All of my other yarns are very kind of deeper and jewel toned, but that's just the way that it turned out. I really, really love those yarns. They're special minis from Amber of Maker's Haven, and I love that piece. However, if I were to do it again, I would spread those yarns throughout the blanket differently, just because I feel like that section kind of stands out quite a bit and maybe looks a little bit strange. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But anyway, so this is how much I have done. And my blanket is quite long. I chained 315 stitches, and I feel like it's the perfect size though, so I'll show you guys how long it is. Two people can definitely fit comfortably under here, and I love it. I'm using a vintage crochet hook, which belonged to my, I believe, Grandma Ruby, who my daughter Ruby was named after. This also could have belonged to my Aunt Ethel, I'm not sure, but I'm quite sure it belonged to my Grandma Ruby. And this doesn't have a size on it. It just says 0 boy, USA 10 cents. So it doesn't hurt my hand at all. When I first started to use it, my hand would get cramped a little bit, and now it seems to work just fine. It doesn't bother my hand. I just think that crochet, especially if you're a knitter and you don't crochet often, you can definitely get hand cramps in here, which I experienced a lot when I first started my crochet blanket. I was not used to that movement. It's completely different, and I didn't enjoy it for the first couple of stitches or rows, I think. But now it's no problem. I adore crocheting on this rather, and it's something that I would love right now to just crochet on for a couple of hours. I could really sit and do that right now. Last night I was awake until 1 in the morning, I would say, working on this. So there are definitely, I would say most nights we stay awake until between 10 and 12:30, either spending time together. Robert does love a long bath, or Robert maybe has a rehearsal, or friends over. Even one night every week Robert has friends over to watch soccer, so I come cozy away in my studio and really, really indulge in making during that time, with a podcast, with music. So something that I will be casting on very, very soonly is a new hat for Robert. He has fingering weight hats from myself, and I think that's really the only weight of hat that he has, even if it were to be a store purchased hat, and he really would like a thicker hat. So he requested, what do you guess, tweed, which I love, but it's no surprise because Robert loves tweed everything. And he wanted it in our ash colorway. So I dyed up this super dark skein of DK weight tweed, and this is just a merino nylon tweed DK weight yarn, which I haven't really carried in the shop. I definitely carry fingering weight, but I haven't carried anything thicker in a tweed weight yarn. Although I do have some to dye on, obviously, because I purchased some for Robert. And this will be a hat that I'll cast on for him. I'm not sure what pattern I'll use exactly. I think he wants something very, very simple with maybe just a rib and stockinette. But that will definitely be cast on in the next couple of days. I wanted to share some yarn that I have in the shop, or that I will be having in the shop on Monday. I didn't grab all of it, but these are just the colorways that I grabbed quickly. So we will be having, after all this time, on various bases. It's okay to be alone. All of these will be on various bases. It's okay to be alone. And those bases range from soft sock, plump merino, gold stellina, BFL, and DK weight yarns. So this is Pop Art. I love this colorway. I guess I enjoy most of them, which is why I dye them. Family Secrets. I hate to say that I don't know how much more I'm going to be dyeing this yarn. I don't know, I'm sure you can't tell by looking at it, but this is honestly a massive process. Even if I dye a lot of this yarn in one day, like as a huge batch amount where that's all that I'm dyeing in one dye day, it still takes I would say 3 times the amount of a normal colorway. Although I can't say that because I don't really have any normal colorways. But this one is definitely a special case that needs extra care and certain things to be done when dyeing it. So this is To the Moon and Back. I have Piper, which hasn't been dyed up in a very, very long time, but I've been having some requests for it lately, and I don't know why I haven't dyed it up in so long, because it's beautiful. It would make a beautiful anything, I think. Pullover, hat, pair of mittens, socks. And this is DK weight, this one is. I feel like it would be really fun to make a DK weight pair of house socks. But as mentioned, it's available on many bases. Cashmere as well, I forgot to mention. There will be cashmere yarns basically on every one of these colors in the shop. And then this one. And then I have a very pretty tonal pinky but speckled yarn that will be going into the shop. Maybe I can grab that quick. I had a lot of people requesting just pink speckled yarn, so I decided to dye that up. And I don't know why I haven't dyed something like this up before, because I really, really love pink. You can tell right now that I'm definitely in a more jewel-toned, warm-colored season in my dyeing, but I guess that probably just comes with the season. And I think that once spring and summer come, I will be dyeing a lot more vibrant colorways and lighter. I have no idea. I have no idea where my mind will be at then, but right now I've definitely been focusing on more deep, soft tones in my yarn. But I don't know why I haven't dyed something like this before. And it looks, I guess it looks very, very, very similar to my blush colorway, although it uses way more pinks than that. There are so many different shades of pink in here. So I love the way this looks on the gold stellina. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to start doing a tonal line on gold stellina just because I feel like it would be a really fun mix-up with knitting to have the tonals on the gold stellina. And I think that it looks really, really nice to have those just tonal yarns with the glitter base. So I've received some amazing yarn in the mail. Let me show those to you guys. I'm just going to show you some of my favorites that I've received recently. Okay, so from Hey Lady Hey, I have 4 amazing skeins of yarn. This one is the Presley colorway. It's 100% Targhee wool. I think this will be a cast on very, very soon. I don't know what I will make with it. Imagine mittens in this, but I'm thinking a hat. It's bulky weight. Wouldn't a hat be pretty spiffy out of this? I think it will probably be a hat. So I love that. And then Melissa also sent me a skein of her heirloom colorway in organic merino. It's worsted weight yarn. It's a beautiful, beautiful pink. I love that. Very pretty. You can see that being a hat or even a little vest for the girls would be really sweet. And then, you guys, this has to be one of my favorite yarns I have ever seen. Ever. So this is again Hey Lady Hey in her Gentle Giant colorway. Hagrid. And it's BFL nylon. So here I was just talking about that I have to make BFL socks. I cannot imagine a colorway that screams my name, not only because of the name, but because of the colors. This must be the way my soul looks because I love it. And as socks, like I feel like there couldn't be anything more perfect. So if you guys are ever able to get your hands on a skein of Gentle Giant by Hey Lady Hey, do it. Maybe we can all bug her to dye up a huge batch. And this is her skein of You're a Wizard, Harry, in her 75-25 merino nylon. Love that. I think these will probably be socks as well. I really like the darkness and the deep tones in it. It's really, really fun. This will probably come out extremely speckled colorway. Love that. And then I received a skein of Nooch fiber yarn. And this is the Midtown sock in her KC Loft Anniversary colorway. It's 75-25 again. Really, really, really cool looking colorway. This will definitely stripe. It reminds me a lot of cat sandwich fibers. But I like that one a lot. I think that will be socks again. Here I said I won't really be knitting socks with merino nylon, but I think I would go ahead and try the 1.5 millimeter needle with these to get a very dense sock. Something that I wanted to mention about the 9-inch circular is that even though I used, okay, so I told you I've been knitting my socks at a 60 stitch count. So because I saw the 9-inch circular, I thought I need to go up in my stitch count. So I did a 64 just to try. That's how many stitches I have on my Family Secrets sock. And I could hardly get my stitches around there the entire time around. And my legs couldn't fit something bigger. Like if I knit anything larger than that 9-inch circular, they would fall down on my legs. So I think that's also another reason why the 9-inch circulars didn't work. I forgot to mention that I just don't, the 9-inch circumference is too much for my stitch count. It doesn't work. I'm knitting like 4 stitches at a time and then really having to tug it, knitting 4 stitches again, and it's really tight on the needles. The stitches aren't tight, however, the circumference of my stitches, I would have to really go up in my stitch count for it to comfortably fit around the 9-inch circular. So I don't think I will be giving those a try again. I really, really don't. But anyway, I think I would like to purchase a 1.5 millimeter needle to try knitting my merino socks on. And then this skein of Republic of Wool, which I've never owned. I've never had a Republic of Wool skein of socks before. Her speckles are fantastic. They're really, really fine. Really beautiful. This is her Wild at Heart colorway in her 80/20 base. Very pretty. Very springy. I can definitely see these being like an Easter pair of socks, or even a skein of yarn in a shawl. I feel like it would make beautiful mittens, actually. It's a very, very pretty skein of yarn. And I've always, always, always wanted to try House of a la Mode. And I'm so happy to have this skein. Renee gifted this skein to me, as well as the Republic of Wool skein. And this is her tinsel colorway in her DK weight. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's beautiful. I have no idea what I will be making with any of these yarns other than the Gentle Giant. That will definitely be a future, not far in the future, quite soon, cast on for a pair of socks. So, love those. I'm sorry that it took me so long in getting to podcasting. I just feel like life was really busy in an amazing way. We didn't end up moving into the house that I was, dreaming about and so wanting so badly. I don't know if it would have been the right house for us, just because it was really, really in the middle of nowhere, which I think can be a beautiful thing and a really special thing. But I just felt like it was too much in the middle of nowhere, that I don't know if I would have felt comfortable, being alone there when Robert would have to go and do work things. I just felt like the neighbors and things were too far away. So, we've just decided that we'll find the right house when the right house is there, and I think that will be soon. So we did end up moving. We live in a beautiful, beautiful flat in Berlin, and we have tons of windows everywhere. We have windows on the ceiling. Our walls are 14.5 feet tall. We have, as I mentioned, a fireplace, which has been so fantastic. It just makes it so cozy. It's just huge. It's literally over twice the amount of space as our old flat, which we really, really needed. We had no room at all in our old flat. So it's been really refreshing, really nice. We feel like we can breathe here. And there are only 3 families who live in this house. It's huge. And each family has children. So the people who live immediately below us, they have 2 sons. And the people who live then 2 floors below us, we're at the top, the Dachgeschoss, they have 4 daughters. And 2 of those are Elodie's age, which is fantastic. They're twins and they're really sweet. One of them is actually coming over for some rollerblading today. So that will be fun. And maybe we'll make some cookies or something like that together. But I'm really, really happy to be back to podcasting and speaking with you guys. I think today we'll spend a little bit of time outside in the snow, which will be a lot of fun. Obviously having guests over, the 2 twins. I think maybe just one of them might be coming over today, though I'm not super sure, but probably both of them. And making some fun sweets and just enjoying our Sunday together. I can't believe tomorrow is Monday. I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to work days. I love what I do. I'm always excited to do it. So if you'd like a little bit more look inside of my life, definitely check out the vlogs. They're a lot of fun to do. They're just daily updates with what I'm doing, what's going on, and you'll definitely be seeing those, if not once, twice a week, because they're so much fun, and I love to share it with you guys, and it's fun to just have the communication going back and forth, and to be seeing you guys a little bit more. I hope that you had a wonderful holiday season. I know that was quite a while ago, and that your 2017 has started off nicely. And I'm looking forward to the next time that I see you. Bye.